What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of The Deep End. I'm your host, Ryan Blue Bowen, with my co-host, Hollywood Matt Connolly. There he is with the double guns. Always impressive, man. How are you?
It's for show, not for go.
Man, you definitely have those peaks sorted, that's for sure. Hey, good to see everyone starting to come into the chat now. We're live on my new YouTube channel. We're live on Hollywood Matt Connolly's YouTube channel. We're live on Facebook on both of our channels. We're live on Twitch. We're live on Twitter. We're live on we're everywhere. So wherever you are, ladies and gentlemen, in the world, let us know. Chuck us a comment, and we'll say g'day to you guys as well. But we got a big show today because, man, next weekend, Matt Connolly. Oh my goodness! Talk about big weekends in arm wrestling. We have got East versus West on, and there are so many good matches. Where do you? Where like it is insane. It's insane that Engin Terzi has. He keeps on saying. I keep on seeing him post on his YouTube community tab that he's not a promoter. He's like, I'm not a promoter, guys. I'm not a promoter. Please don't think I'm a promoter. Please don't think I'm a promoter. I am an arm wrestler. I just love seeing good arm wrestling matches. Well, he is outdoing every promoter that there is at the moment. So Ian says, why does Matt look two-dimensional? Some odd lens stuff going on there.
I'm living in the third dimension, but being represented as a two-dimensional object.
You got the virtual background. The virtual background does look pretty slick. I like it. But there we go. Maybe it's because I've got such wicked camera lenses going on at the moment that creamy depth of field. But anyway, good morning, gentlemen. Thank you, Ian E, for being here. Good morning, gentlemen, says Edmund Choi. Good to see you here on Facebook, Edmund Choi. Look at that. We got them coming in from everywhere. Wonderful to have anyone live on Twitch today. But, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about Engin Terzi's East vs. West. As I was saying, Engin, he's outdoing every promoter in the history of promoters right now when it comes to putting quality matches on. Jake Ward, the Aussie arm wrestler.
There he is. The man himself has appeared.
Billy Collins, hello to you too, man. What do you think, Matt, about the richness and the depth of these East vs. West cards?
Well, he says he's not a promoter, and then he puts on one of the best cards ever. The depth, the quality of the pullers that are on this card is second to none. It's one of the best cards talent-wise that you could have ever made. Apart from Devon and Levan, that's probably the only match that isn't on this card. Yeah. Everyone else, it's like, wow, I can't wait to see that. Oh, I can't wait to see that. Oh, that match. Oh my God. It's sort of like the early days of the UFC where the entire card was completely stacked and you knew every single fighter that was on that card. That is that right here. Everyone knows who everyone is, and it's like every single match is going to be fireworks.
Yeah, it's glorious in terms of that lineup. You look at it, you just think, oh no. It's got like pretty much the entire USA A team is there. I saw John Brzenk. I don't know if you saw John Brzenk's stories in the last 24 hours, but John was fanning the flames of promotion very nicely. He said, watch out, East vs. West, literally the USA A team is coming and we're going to sweep you. So I love it. I love it. So we'll get into the specific matches, but it was good to see John promoting like that. Aussie Arm Wrestler says it's going to be interesting to see who we pick. Yeah, we'll get into that very shortly, Jake. No doubt Jake will be covering this one as well, but it's going to be a massive, massive weekend. There's a few really big talking points on there. I don't know if we just dive straight into it. To be honest, any talking point that we cover is huge. Because they're all freaking enormous matches. So, guys, let us know in the comments which match you are most looking forward to. Because there's so many good ones, whether it's Dave Chafee, Gennady Kvikvinia, Marcio Barboza against Tobias Sparong, John Brzenk against Zurab Tavaridze, Matt Mask against Evgeny Prudnik, Michael Todd against Rivaz Latidze, Arif Erdem Krasimir, Dinov, Derek Smith with Adam Morozov, Todd Hutchins, Irakli Zarakashvili, Paul Lynn, David Samashuya. And then we get into the left. That was just the right. Matt Mask, Adam Morozov, F.A. Komek, Zurab Tavaridze, Tobias Sparong, Evgeny Prudnik, and then Sahib Kagla against Marcio Barboza. It's phenomenal. Jake Ward says, Todd Hutchins v. Irakli is the match. Do we want to start there? Why not?
Let's start there. Let's start with Jake's
right there.
suggestion.
Jake's favorite. Oh my goodness. The context of this one, Matt, is we're getting down to the very pointy end of the world rankings at 110 kilos. There are 4 names that remain. No matter who you are, if you're arguing who is the number 1 ranked arm wrestler in the world at 110 kilos, there's only 4 names that come up. 2 of them are right here. Todd Hutchins, Irakli Zarakashvili. The other 2 are Evgeny Prudnik and John Brzenk. So that's the context, is we're getting to the pointy end. The winner of this moves forward to face the winner of the other side, potentially. And that step 1 closer to being the number 1 ranked 110 kilo arm wrestler in the world. How do you see it?
Whew. Man, I think every single match that's on this card, you're just going to be like, oh, God, they're both absolutely phenomenal. I think Todd Hutchins, I think his recent form, I think the fact that he looks so dominant in his last couple of matches, the last feud that I've seen, like, he hasn't really struggled, you know. It's been pretty much one-sided, and especially the ones where he did 2 matches like in a row, basically, against 2 different opponents, and within, you know, just one round after the other, and convincingly just destroyed both of them. It should be interesting. It'll be the test that he needs, I think. Like, the other people that he's been pulling might have been the ones that were challenging him. And now he is sort of in the realm of like, well, this is someone who's on your level or maybe just a little bit above you. So you'll have to see if you're going to raise your game to that level.
Yeah. No, Toddzilla's been on a rampage, hasn't he? He's been on a warpath. And Aaron Castillo, thank you for the comment. He says Toddzilla versus Irakli is the top of his list as well. And then John v. Zurab is next for him. That might be the next match we talk about, Aaron. But thank you for that. And I agree. Toddzilla and Irakli is huge. For me, it's got massive ramifications on the world ranks, and as you said, it's Todd taking on someone that could be right there at his level. And one of the things about Irakli that I find very interesting is I think it's quite unknown what his actual level is, and I say that carefully because he's obviously he's a WAF world champion at 85 kilos. We've seen him beat plenty of established arm wrestlers. They're all light. But the dude is transformed. The dude is no longer a lightweight. He's now 110 freaking kilos. Like, he's been on that good Georgian diet. And he's not the same man. So we haven't seen him take this new beast out for a test run yet. However, we did see him pull Daniel Mosier. That's the last match that we've seen from Irakli, and he made Daniel Mosier look comfortable. But that's not enough. Doing what he did to Daniel Mosier is not enough to beat Todd Hutchins. So there has to be even more upside there. The visible change in him suggests there is an upgrade that we're about to see released. But will it actually be there to the degree to face someone like Todd? Because Todd is a wrecking ball right now.
Yeah, he's on a tear, man. He's just everyone he's faced, he's basically just blown him out of the water. As I said, I mean, the people that he's had those recent matches with, I mean, he was. Well, I know you picked against him with Lachlan, but
I can't go any other way.
I mean, I thought Lachlan would have done. I was surprised that Todd won that match so convincingly. I think Lachlan is at that level, and I think that was his first time that he really stepped up into international competition. And it was sort of, you still had that question mark as to how will he go against like the actual elite, you know, United States pullers. And then it was sort of like, wow, Todd is on another level. And then, you know, he's done a couple of, I would say that last match that he had where he had the 2 opponents was a bit more of a fun match, but
2 and 1.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Aussie Jake Ward says that Todd is beating superstars during his lunch break. He pins people, grabs his bag, and then he goes back to work. He does. Have you seen him do that? He literally, and that happened. I know that happened for the Lachlan match. Lachlan told me that he saw Todd for the first time 2 minutes prior to his match, and Todd stuck around for no more than 3 minutes after, and then was gone.
Wow.
That was it. He did the exact same thing at East vs West when he took on Jordan Sonev. I don't know if he did it in Canada, but he literally just emerges from the hotel, crushes someone, picks up his bag, and he's gone. He is like, that's what it's interesting. I don't know if he's doing it deliberately for physical performance, whether he's doing it for freaking branding, but I love it on the branding level. I'm like, this dude is a freaking killer. He is just coming in, taking a scalp, leaving.
Wow, that's weird. Why do you think he's doing that? I remember at the with the WoW tournaments, the WoW like super matches that they were putting on, there was so much like after pulling stuff that the content would pop up, and then it was almost as interesting, if not more interesting, the actual match. I did see Todd hang around a fair bit for that, but maybe because it was later. Was it scheduled at night? Did you guys record that at night time?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was quite late at night for us. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think he's trying to hide? Oh man, it's hard to think what the reasoning would be behind it. Maybe he doesn't want to stick around and do the after pulling.
The thing is, I know that he has, for instance, a very strict what do we call it? He's got a process for physically warming up and preparing for a match that is very specific. Todd treats arm wrestling like a science, so much so that he's got one of the most unique situations ever going around. Like what he'll do literally is he won't rest for a match like other people do.
Okay.
Todd Hutchins has his training so down to a routine and that he trusts and believes that normally what he'll do is he'll just reprogram his week so that what would have been 1RM day becomes ready go day. Because he's like, why would I ever stop training when every week I hit a new 1RM? Why would I not keep that system going? I'm just going to make that dude on the other side of the table my 1RM. He's going to feel it. So he warms up out the back privately to the same degree as he was doing a workout. So he will do all his lifts all the way up to the 1RM. So you'll see he'll come out sweating, he'll come out high blood pressure, he'll come out hot. He's already done 10 reps of warm up. He's already gone through 2.5 kilo increments from 50% of his 1RM all the way up to his 1RM. And he'll go to that, then he'll pull. So he literally, that's what he does. It's phenomenal. It's the bravery to do that in a match that matters. Like for someone who's never done it before, you're like, I'm going to use up all my energy, really? But
wow,
man, that's what he comes out and he's literally ready. His body is physically ready. He's used to the pattern. He's hit all these lifts, and he's like, all right, give it here. I'm ready for my 1RM now. And then just bang. So that makes me feel like he's a hitman. He is a proper hitman. He's calculated, doesn't muck around. He's got his system. It works. He's gonna crush you.
Oh, do you warm up at all before matches?
I don't. I am not a warm up guy. Hey, in a tournament, my warm up is my first round.
Your warm up is me.
Is the arm wrestlers that aren't quite at my level. But I've played with a lot of different things and I haven't worked it out yet. I don't know where it sits. Hey, Aaron Castillo says, I know Todd does it slightly different than Corey West, but I absolutely where it's easy to believe Todd still is above Corey. That is a good point, isn't it? Can you imagine Irakli doing anything to Corey West?
Oh, Corey West is an absolute monster. I mean, his form recently has been incredibly impressive. I think one more win for Corey West will put him in that really top, right on the pinnacle of breaking into the top elite guys. So I'd love to see a match between both of them. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
It's so hard. I mean, what is it? Corey West weighs like, I don't know, 400 pounds or something. He's huge. He's a massive guy.
Yeah, Corey West is a different beast. And the thing about Irakli, and I don't know if you're waiting for us to get to the other matches, we will. I assure you, we'll get there. But the thing about Irakli is he has a certain shape that is restrictive in some senses. If we look at his matches, there's one glaring problem for Irakli, in my opinion. And it's what happened when he faced Sasha Andreev. He faced Sasha Andreev in like November of 2021, I think it was. Could be wrong. But he faced Sasha Andreev, who Sasha Andreev is like the smaller version of Todd Hutchins. He's similar side pressure, elbow-based, brutal puller, relentless. But let's be honest, Todd Hutchins is a significant step above Sasha Andreev. And Sasha Andreev beat Irakli 5-1. This was in November. That's not that long ago. That was the 95 kilo version of Irakli. We now have the 110 kilo version of Irakli. Again, unknown. How much has Irakli leveled up? Does he have an? And the thing is about his shape, his style of top roll. It's a very large posting top roll. It's not a low dragging high hook or anything like that. Like the last man to beat Todd Hutchins, Hadjimurad Zoloyev. He is more of a hand control based top roll that disengaged Todd. Irakli's a back pressure guy. He's a bicep guy. He's a post hard, wrist up, then flash sideways. I think Hutchins is going to smoke him.
Straight through, sideways. I don't care what you do. I'm going sideways.
Yeah, because I can't. The problem for Irakli is Irakli's not going to pin Todd outside of straps because of the lack of hand control. Like I said, he's a bicep heavy guy, so he's not going to control the Todd hand and wrist. So there will be slip. There will be off the straps. Todd Hutchins, please do not try to just hold on, because that's how he lost to Hadzimura. He tried to hold on for too long. But if this goes to straps, which I expect it will, as you said, it's gonna be the giggling Todd of just say go. Yeah, exactly.
There's not many people that have that style, though, is there? I mean, you look at Todd Hutchins, and it's sort of like he stands on his own in a way in the style that he pulls with. I mean, it's so just like I'm side pressure no matter what, and it's like no one else really sort of does that. I can think off the top of my head. Would you say that that's a very specific skill to him?
To just go sideways?
Yeah.
Look. Todd has best in game elbow. I think Todd's elbow conditioning is better than anyone's in the sport. Better than Levan's. Like if we're breaking down the physicality, Levan is clearly a stronger human in a fundamental strength sense, and he would have no dramas with Todd Hutchins because of that. But I would bet if Levan's fully supinated and just drove this way, that Todd Hutchins would stay dead center and Levan would hit a wall. That's what I bet. I bet they would. If it was just,
I'd love to see it.
do this and lean against each other and see whose elbow blows up first, I'd bet Levan backs off and wants to go back to this. So Todd Hutchins, because he is the best in class, or not even the best in class, just best in arm wrestling at one particular physicality, he will take it to that lane as quickly as possible. The key thing to getting him to that lane is his fingers. And he has phenomenal fingers. He trains exclusively with oversized wrist wrenches, 3.7 inches or something crazy like that. He's not strapped to it. He holds it down and he still can pick up 65, 70 kilos with that. So his fingers are phenomenal. That contains people's back pressure, which puts them in the side pressure lane, which means it's a good night for Irakli. And Tim Graham agrees, I think. Tim Graham has said Irakli lost to Sasha last year. Yeah, he did, man. And Sasha is not Todd Hutchins. But the Irakli back then, Tim, was the 95 kilo Irakli. I think now we got the 110 kilo Irakli. So this big unknown factor. But anyway, Matt Connolly, give us your prediction. What's the score? What's the match? How's it going? And then we'll move on.
I'm picking Todd Hutchins for this one.
Yeah. You got a score for me? Is it a sweep or is Irakli going to get a sneaky early one?
No, I think Todd's got too much. I think he's on as you said, he's on a roll. He's on a tear. He's just got too many advantages. I think once that first round goes through where he just absolutely smashes through, I think that's it. Game over.
Yeah, I agree. Sweep is on Todd Hutchins. John Brzenk declared it. USA's A team is coming to sweep the floor. So let's get on to that one because that's the next one that's particularly exciting. Is John Brzenk and Surab Tabaridze. Yeah, look at that. I was stumbling over my names. I was scrolling. I wanted to make sure I pronounced Tabaridze right. And it looked like I was forgetting the name John Brzenk. That was great.
I was very impressed with your pronunciation of all the names there. When I was looking through the list, I was like, I mean, I have no idea how to say that name, and you just rolled it off perfectly. So there you go.
There you go. Oh, so last little bit of a prediction there from Tim Graham. He says Hutchins loses the first match but wins the next three. Interesting stuff. We'll see, Tim. Thank you for the comment, man. So
$20.
Oh, there it is. We've got a $20 bet. Of course, Tim Graham from South Australian Titans crew, which is Matt Connolly's hometown as well. All right, guys. So Brzenk v Tavbaridze. As we were saying, there are 4 clear names at the top of the list right now for the world rankings at 110 kilos. Brzenk's one of them. Tavbaridze is not. No one's saying Tavbaridze is pushing for it. I think he's a bit heavier than 110. I think he might be 115, 118 maybe even. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments and you know better. But the thing is, he's just not. I did see something from Zurab actually. Whether it's Zurab just trying to get into the mind of John Brzenk or whatever, but Zurab declared that he was not in good shape when he faced Ron, that he was in fact injured, and that he just was not at all prepared for that match. And he obviously beat Ron in a screamer, best match of the year probably in terms of physical back and forth. So he says that he's going to 3-0 John. I saw him declare such thing. I like your reaction. That's the same reaction I had.
It'd be fun, like the people around him when they're like, "Oh, you're not really gonna say that, are you?" And then when he said it, like...
Well, I saw people say, "Hang on a second, are we watching the delusional Ryan Bowen here, or is this what's going on, Zero?"
3-0. Okay.
Yeah. John's a freak, and John in his comeback season has demonstrated why he's the GOAT over and over and over and over again. He keeps on just looking better. Like you don't know where the ceiling on John is, because John just keeps playing with his food. Every match he just plays with his food. He makes them let them feel their strength. But he's never in trouble. He's never in trouble. He does it so casually.
He's awesome, man. He's one of the great. I love to watch him because it's almost like he allows the opponent. It's like, well, what have you got? You're strong in hook. All right, let's go hook, and I'll show you that I can beat you in hook. And it's like, it's not like he's just sticking at one thing. He could do everything and anything, and it's just phenomenal.
Yeah, Lagia comes in and says Zurab is not winning 3-0. Laugh out loud. Yeah, we agree with you, man, on that one. And look, I get it. Zurab, it's a legacy match for him. It's a moment where you're like, oh my goodness, I'm pulling the GOAT. So you want to give it your best. And if this is what it takes for him to mentally give it his best, then fantastic. I hope he does give it his best. And John won't make him look silly. John will allow him, as you said, he'll allow him to, well, you want to hook? Let's go and hook that. Let's see what that big bicep's got. But as Aaron Castile says, and I haven't read the full comment yet, but I think it's headed in the right direction from my preview of it. He says, I think Brzenk takes the hand and might have trouble finishing, but can hang in a totally comfortable control position until Zurab burns out. Second round, John might start playing with his food. Perfect. Aaron, that's exactly how I see it going as well. Zurab will have the bicep that John couldn't just surge straight to the pad, but John's hand is so friggin' amazing. John could go deep into a hook, and as Zurab surges, he just coils back, drags back, twists that pronation in that cup, and just stops Zurab dead in his tracks. He'll comfortably sit in a control position. I agree, Aaron. And Zurab will just blow up so hard. He'll have nothing in the end, but it'll look good. Zurab will be in the fight for a while. John's face will go red. John's face will. That's always the test, isn't it? Like when you're pulling someone like John, you're just praying you make his face go red.
All right. If you had to have a match with John and you had, say, a year to prepare for it, and it's, I don't know, let's say $25,000 match, right? Serious. It's 6 rounds. Do you have a strategy or any? I mean, the guy's phenomenal everywhere.
Exactly. Isn't that the problem? Like John is John just has the most complete game of all arm wrestlers in the history of the sport, and that's why when he's had 7 super matches, I think, in 6 months.
Yeah.
like that demonstrates why he's the GOAT again. Like it's crazy, and everyone else has one every 6 months and has to rest 3 months to prepare and has to do all this. John's like, yeah, cool. Who wants it? Oh yeah, cool.
He was going to face Devin like the next weekend, and he went and did a tournament.
Yeah, he did a tournament 6 days before, and not just pulling nobodies, but pulling Jordan Sill and Cody Merritt and like people that are decent. John's different. His hand strength is so well rounded. His table IQ is perfect, and his conditioning across all positions is fully developed. If he's a video character in a video game, he's 10s everywhere with the exception he's a 9.5 on arm power or something. Like, but everywhere else it's 10.
Man, just quickly, what's your favorite John Brzenk match?
Oh shit, man. Favorite John Brzenk match. I've always been a fan of GOATs of any sport just continuing to dominate. So my favorite John Brzenk match is 2015 WAL when he beat Devin and proved it one more time. And that was like the redemption after arm wars and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, that's my favorite, beating Devin 2-1 in the WAL.
Yeah, but Devin tried to slip and John got his hand and pinned it. Yeah.
Yeah. So everyone, I think, is in agreement. This is a Brzenk 3-0. Tim Graham says 0 won't take a round. All will be wars, but John with a good win. Yeah, I agree. You agree, Matt?
What was the advice that Tim gave you in the tournament?
Tim, you bastard. Yeah. Oh, no. This is the man, YouTube. This is the man that convinced me to top roll against Olimov Begzod. I don't hold it against you.
You love it. Here we go.
No, you gotta take responsibility for your own decisions in an arm wrestling match. And the thing was, Tim did look good against Olimov in that opening round. It looked like Olimov was uncertain about his hands, and Tim Graham is losing it down there laughing. I'll never take your advice again. Oh, goodness me. Lucky wants to know what happens with John and Zero in a hook first round. Who would win? John. Okay, John. He will out-rotate Zero, and Zero's bicep won't mean a thing. All right, let's move on because there's still so many good matches. Let's talk about Dave Chafee and Gennady Kvigvinia. Big match.
This is a big match.
When we're talking about 18 from the USA, here's another one. We've just had Hutchins, Brzenk, and now we got Chafee. This is definitely 18 material, isn't it? The context of this one, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you know it, but Dave Chafee coming off the back of crushing Alex Kodecha. Gennady coming off the back of crushing Michael Todd. Gennady previously having lost 5-1 against Chafee in 2018, I think it was. He's wanted redemption ever since. He publicly declares he will do it. He really does think he will do it. And I saw I saw the poster of him telling Dave Chafee that you're better off just conceding early, Dave, because I'm going to make you look terrible. I'm gonna top roll you. He was real. And Dave Chaffee's comeback something. Don't quote me. It was something like, I think the bad food is getting to your head or something like that. It was something real simple, like, dude.
He's not the best trash talker, Dave Chafee.
Yeah. How do you see this one, man? How do you see it?
I think Dave Chafee's going to pull this one off. I think he's got it. I think the way he's looked in his recent matches, he just looks like he's leveled up again. Like he looks so much stronger. I mean, the only one that really in the last couple of years that I've seen him lose was against Michael Todd, and it was basically from that King's move position, and he was driving. You could see the amount of torque that he was putting into that position, but obviously Michael Todd able to use the King's move at that point to sort of stay in the match. But seeing the way that Dave is blowing through his opponents. Like I think he's unstoppable. I think he's probably in line to do. Wow, and I mean, do you think like Devon Devon and Levan after that? Oh no, it's tough. I think that Dave's got it though. It should be a huge match on this card. This is one of the pinnacle matches for sure.
Yeah, it is. It's one of the marquee matches. Interestingly, looking at your comments here, there is a bit of a mix going on. On one hand, we've got Brandon Natale there saying Chafee smashes Gennady. It will look like what Hermes did to Gennady. And then we got old Timmy Graham again. Says if the Gennady that pulled Michael shows up, Gennady wins 3-2, and Dave likely wins the first few matches. Fascinating split of opinions here in the comment section. I didn't anticipate that. Aaron Castillo, he says, I think Dave and Gennady match will look strangely similar to the last time they pulled. Lots of near stops by Gennady, but when he's shaking his head as if he's, but where he's shaking his head as if he figured something out. Yeah, my personal opinion is similar to Aaron's. I think that Gennady's just not strong enough to crack through Dave. I think that Gennady's a better technical arm wrestler than Dave. I think he has more options, more variety in his counter-attacking ability. He has more defensive positions if needed on a technical standpoint. I think he is ahead. But Dave is Dave's very close to the very top of strength in this sport.
Yeah.
He really is. And
I think that video you sent me of him doing one arm bicep curls with 80 kilos on the preacher bench. I got 80 kilos with 2 arms, and I thought I was doing really well. And it was like I was red faced, almost passed out when I got it. I sent it. I was like, yes, have a look at this. And then you sent back him casually doing like 7 or 8 reps with one arm. Oh, no.
Yeah, you're like, oh man.
That's the level that the pros are at.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Now, interestingly, like when we look at Gennady's last match, he did crush, as Tim Graham mentioned, if the version that crushed Michael shows up. Now, the problem I have with that is that I'm really, and we'll talk about Michael in depth soon. I'm really unsure of what's going on with Michael. I don't know. I can't get a proper read on it, so I don't know if that Gennady is all that dangerous. Because I remember the match before where Gennady got spanked by Hermes Gasparini. Now, if we're going to draw strings and parallels and try, I don't know, this doesn't always apply, but it's still a point, is you go, okay, Gennady got smacked by Hermes. Hermes got smacked by Kadecha, and Kadecha got smacked by Chafee. It's not linear like that. It's not. Styles make matches and things change. It doesn't mean that Chafee is 4 chapters ahead of Gennady. But what it does mean for me is that it's an uphill battle for Gennady at best. A very big uphill battle.
Yeah. More technical is going to lose to the power of Chafee.
Yeah. Hey, Lagia says, I don't know. Dave and Hermes pull very differently. Dave might single surge through Gennady. Yeah. Look, outside of straps, Dave will win the high ground. Gennady's going to hit hard and he's going to try to crack the wrist, but Dave's just ability to make a fist and say no is going to be there. And I think you're going to see Gennady doing this, looking for these slips. Dave may just take a slightly deep grip, hold on, and just say, "I'm going to pin you out of straps." He did that in at least 1 or 2 of the rounds when they faced. So I think you're going to straight away see struggle there from Gennady in that respect. If it's in straps, I don't know, I just can't see it. The only way I see Gennady winning in straps is if he casts voodoo spells and uses some black magic in the setup. He's got to make Dave lose leverage in the strap application. If Gennady can get all coiled up and get a way dominant, get his wrist already bent in the strap, and then get webbing slightly higher, then Gennady can win. But if this is just tie us together as we are, ladies and gentlemen, neutral position, ready to go, Gennady's got nothing.
Dave Chafee by smoking.
So you're in the sweep camp still.
Sweep.
I agree. I'm sweeping on this one as well. Dave does have the habit of gifting around, just so you're aware, ladies and gentlemen. So when we're talking sweep scores, we're just talking about the first three, the three that matter. Okay, Dave Chaffee will win the first 3 rounds. If they continue on past there, he'll take the fourth and then he'll gift Gennady the fifth one, just so Gennady wants another crack at him in another 3 years' time.
And to ruin everyone's betting lines.
Yeah, to ruin the pay line. So I don't know. I think 3-0 Dave for sure is what's going on for me. All right, interesting. Let's get on to Michael Todd, because Brandon Natale's come in there with a comment about Monster Michael Todd's riser. It may be hurt, but it looked good against Derek Smith in practice recently. So let me confirm the name pronunciation for his opponent. Let me find it. It's Rivas, isn't it? Hang on, where'd he go? This list is so long with good matches.
Rivas
Lutidze. Anyway, Michael Todd, Rivas, Latidze. The context of this, ladies and gentlemen, as we know, Michael Todd is I think everyone agrees, he's an established all-time great in the sport. He's done phenomenal things in the past. Some of the names that he has gone toe-to-toe with and near beat Saplenkov, Pushkar. He lost 4-2 to both those guys under PAL strict rules. He's a phenomenal arm wrestler in that respect. He's beaten everyone else in the world on their given day. He's beaten Devon. He's beaten Chaffee. He's beaten. I was about to say he's beaten John. He's never beaten John.
Well, where you going, buddy?
He's never beaten John. But you get it. He's a legend of the sport, Michael Todd. But something has gone missing, hasn't it? Something has gone missing. Since he pulled Devon at King of the Table last year. Something's gone missing, because we don't know what happened. We all expected him to crush Gennady, and his riser and pronation just got absolutely monstered by Gennady. Is it because Gennady's a weapon, or is there something wrong with Michael Todd?
Yeah, I think I've heard a few people talk about nerve damage, or that he's had some issue with his hand, which is affecting the way that he's doing his King's move. I haven't heard Michael specifically say that, and I doubt that he probably would, because he doesn't want to give anything away in a match. But I think this match for Michael Todd is a real test of, like, if you win it, you're going to keep arm wrestling. If you lose, you might retire. I think that's the stakes that are on the line for Michael Todd.
That's big stakes. Hey, the Drew 24, one of the most consistent commenters on YouTube across all arm wrestling channels.
He's even doing it on mine.
Thank you, Drew 24. Thank you for the support, as always, brother. Hey, Dave Stockbridge, one of your good fellow South Australians.
Yes.
Says since Michael Todd went to Cairo Bow Hightower, he's been weaker, disconnected somewhat. And then he throws in the extra comment of nerves. Has something physiological happened? Because I know that Michael's never stopped training. Michael has never lost enthusiasm. I'm good friends with Michael. I speak to Michael often. On a motivational level, he's very driven. He's very driven. He was shocked and surprised as well that's what happened. Because he's never stopped. Is it something like what Dave Stockbridge has said there? Has something actually physiologically changed and killed his ability to access what he previously had?
No. I think we talked about this, I think, on the last episode or the one before that, where I don't think Michael. It's like he's at the absolute elite level, and that's the guys that he's pulling against, and it's especially in arm wrestling where it's like you can't win every single match when you're at that level. Like, everybody is improving, and everyone's going to have those days where they just on and yawn slightly off, and that's all it takes. You might be 1% less than what you needed to be on that day. He's still a phenomenal arm wrestler. He has an amazing technique. He has all the tools available to him. I just hope he isn't injured, because I really like the fact that he does the King's move and everyone hates it, because it's like, well, now you have to try and figure out how to beat it. It's a legal move. Like, what he's doing is legal. Well, they've changed some slight things, but in terms of, he is using something that you're allowed to use. And it's like, when people do those sorts of things and they come up with innovation, rather than people getting angry and being like, oh, they should just ban it. It's like, well, no, now you have to learn how to beat that. And there will be a way to beat it. And Devin showed when he had his match with Michael Todd how he beat that. And that was the big question, was like, has Devin figured out a way to beat Michael's King's move? And it sort of, it evolves the sport. It makes things move forwards. You don't want to ban stuff. You don't want to make stuff illegal to prevent innovation, to prevent growth. I think Michael he went from, his fast press, which he still has, but it's like he developed that King's move, and it was like he was the first guy to really take it to that elite level. And it was, I was entertained watching his matches, because it was like, can somebody figure out how to beat this? Like, everyone hates what he's doing, but it's like, well, it's up to you to beat him. Like, what he's going to do. He still has all those tools in his belt. It's just,
I disagree.
Okay,
I disagree. I disagree in the sense that I don't think that there's been some sudden magical realization of how to beat the King's move technically. I think Michael was too strong. I think people knew how to do it, and Michael was too strong. I feel like his riser and pronation combination used to be so good that Pushkar's wrist went back, that Saplenkov's wrist went back. He can't put those people's wrists back anymore. He can't. Like, Gennadi's wrist now is not what Saplenkov's wrist was when Michael put that wrist back, nor Pushkar's. Pushkar was king of the world. And Michael put his wrist back.
Do you think it's an injury?
I think there's. I don't know. I'm still asking the question. I feel like something has gone wrong. That his ability to pronate and rise, the combination of that, has changed. Whether it was, in arm wrestling, your elbows stiffen up throughout the years. If you're a joint heavy style arm wrestler, they stiffen. Michael's have stiffened to a degree, maybe too far. Maybe there was a time where the angle was perfect with him dropping, because you know how you don't see Michael go below the table anymore. He used to get a lot closer, a lot lower. Now his arm is so tight that his stop point, he's still standing quite tall. He used to have the stop point lower. I think because of this change in shape of his stop point, because his arm has stiffened so much now, his riser is not as effective. And I think he's more, he's stuck. I don't know. He just can't rise. Because if he goes to drop, it's just changed the shape of his offensive pathways, I feel. And his current offensive pathways are not as good as they used to be.
Well, with his opponent, I haven't heard of the opponent in this match. Is this one of the guys, or they've set this up so it's like, well, we've got to make this match in a way to sort of but give Michael Todd the best chance of winning?
I'm going to answer that question in 2 seconds. There's some comments that I just have to address. Drew24 with one of the comments today. Hey, Matt, if this arm wrestling thing doesn't work out for you, will you go back to being a porn star? You guys are great. It's the deep voices, Matt. I think it's the deep voices. Maybe that double flex bicep. Yeah. Thank you.
No, I went live. My first time going live on Saturday night by myself, and yeah, we had some great people in the chat saying some fun things, and I was telling some stories of my younger days. So yeah.
Dave Stockbridge believes that it really was pinpointed to that Hightower visit. I've never been to a chiro, so I can't tell you the effect of it on me, but it makes me I've always been scared of chiros, so I'm probably not going to start anytime soon. But thank you, Dave Stockbridge, for the comment there. Brandon, what's Brandon saying? Brandon says Monster Michael Todd also said he was trying to move away from the King's move due to the fan hate to a more open top roll move. That might also be effective. I think that's Michael's. I think that's a load of crap, because I think it's Michael's body just demanding it. As I was saying, Michael's arms now only go to here. They literally you put his tricep flat on the table, boom. It's barely past 90 degrees where his arm stops. So I don't think he can go below the table like he used to. I don't know. And either way, he's a different monster now than what he was. And Tim Graham. Now back to the Drew 24 one more time says Monster Michael Todd has said that he will now do what he knows works to how he won before, and ignoring the haters, he'll do what he really wants. So that's interesting. If that is the declaration from Michael, will we see Michael arm wrestle with the same shape he used to be? I'll be surprised if he can. I'll be surprised.
I don't think Michael did anything for fans or anything. It was like, I'm going to win the way I'm going to win. And if you hate it, too bad. Like, that's what I do. And I think you've said that a few times. He's not going to change his style because, fans hate it. It's like, I'm winning world championships. I'm winning super matches. I'm going to keep doing that.
Exactly. Michael didn't change for any fans. He changed because his body was just changing as he's stiffening up, or a nerve injury.
Who's going to win?
Now, before we get to who's going to win, you asked a great question about Rivas. Tim Graham said, pretty sure Rivas is a former world champion. Rivas is not the famous Georgian that Lavan is or that Gennady is. I had a chat with Engen Terzi about Rivas, and he said Rivas is one of those guys who's just life has been busy enough that it's just kept him away from going all in on arm wrestling. Rivas is one of those guys that if he was afforded the opportunity to go all in, he could have been the Lavan. He could still become the Lavan. He's brilliantly strong, big dude. He is very tall. I've met Rivas in Moldova. I got to watch him pull. I filmed him from a meter and a half away. I watched him pull Pushka. Pushka won that day, but Rivas, outside of straps, even wrist battle, slip against the great and late Andre Pushka. I think this is a disaster for Michael. I don't think this helps Michael at all. I don't think this is an easy win for Michael. I think this is a very big problem because Rivas is a very tall, very big top roller. Thick. He's not a skinny top roller. He's a well-built guy. And that means it's like if I was doing Michael a favor, I would have given Michael a damn hooker. Someone who's shorter and looking to drive in. Michael's facing someone tall. And historically, Michael lost to tall people. You think about it, like when he was banging with Saplenkov and all those guys. The person who beat Michael Todd most convincingly was Dmitry Trubin, and Dmitry Trubin is 6'5" or something like that. He's quite tall. Rivas is tall. Michael is up against it here. I've got Rivas winning 3-0.
Wow. Wow.
Yep.
All right.
And I say that I love Michael Todd. I'm a good friend of him, but I have to call it how I see it. Unless something comes back in Michael.
Do you think Michael's going to top King's move the same way as always, or do you think he's going to that's his game plan from now on, no matter what?
Yeah, I think he's taken that decision in his head that try to rediscover what he used to have. Like I said, my fear for him is that he can't anymore. Just can't.
Do you think with the longer pads, maybe that was why he was able to get deeper under the table?
In the WL, it certainly helped him for sure. But again, you have to go back to Saplenkov and Pushka matches. They were in the PAL, 6x6 pad. He had no dramas there at all. He's never had a problem with the 6x6, but he's sure that the 6x8 is an advantage for Michael Todd. That extra drag allows him to get just further back and into the hand and whatnot. But on the 6x6, I don't know. Michael will always be at the pointy end of arm wrestling, but I think Michael's in trouble. I don't know where he goes. For this match and for the future. I don't know. I think he'll do incredibly well against inside pullers, but the thing is, when you look at the super heavyweight division, 80%, maybe even 90% of people are top rollers in the super heavyweight division. They're all heavy back pressure, pronation based and that's an interesting observation in itself. And Engen Terzi highlighted that in the lighter weight categories, hooking style is dominant. And the heavier you get, the pendulum starts to swing to top rolling and outside pressure. So that's a fascinating thing. So Michael's only really going to be dealing with top rollers, I think. Yeah, he'll forever be a legend. He's already done enough to qualify him as that, but I don't know that he can ever really rise up again.
What if he wins?
I hope he does. I hope he says, "Fuck you, Ryan. Look at this victory match last." I hope he does because I'm on
the F Bowen t-shirts.
Yeah, I want the sweep as much as anyone. I enjoy the banter there, and I want the sweep, and I'd love to see Michael get back because the best form Michael's ever in was someone I would have loved to have seen against Levan. I know he wanted that. He was building towards that, and that was his kind of biggest dream in his own progress. But unfortunately, it all fell away. It just so. Yeah.
Oh, that was the worst thing ever. They were both in bloody Dubai and shaking hands, taking photos, and it was like, can we not get them to arm wrestle? No, they're both under a different contract system. Oh my God, are you serious? Like that was one of the biggest missed opportunities ever in arm wrestling. And Michael was at the absolute pinnacle of his peak right there and then, and he still had that question mark because Devin hadn't beaten him at that point and was like, can anybody beat this King's move? And it was like, well, Levan is like, the strongest guy ever seen on the arm wrestling table. It's like, well, surely he would be able to do it. You still had that question mark there, and it didn't happen.
Yeah, we missed that opportunity. Hey, talking about missed opportunities, Nehemiah Goff, he says, Devin just posted that he's sad that Levan doesn't want to come on Neil Pickup's show with him to talk about the match. So obviously the invite was there from Neil, but look, Devin, oh, man. Oh, man. I'm going to there's 30 people here watching at the moment. I'm going to let you in on a secret. Matt Connolly, you know what this secret is already. Devin Larratt is such a freaking monster mentally. This is not the surprise. Everyone knows this. Okay. The next video that I drop on my YouTube channel, not this one, but the main one. If you're not a Devin Larratt, if you're not on Team Devin Larratt yet, you will be. Okay. When this video drops, I had the opportunity to speak with Devin Larratt in a recorded conversation, and I have never experienced an interview like this before. It blew me away. He invited me to a conversation where he said, I want to share some things that may not have ever been observed before. And I'm like, oh, that piques your interest. You're like, oh, okay. He tells a story that I'm just like, this story will be the reason why he beats Levan. When Levan listens to this story, when Levan listens to this video, he is going to struggle to decide what mentality he's in. He's gonna be like, Devin's mentality is next level. And I think Levan, it's a wise move not to go on a live video with Devin because it's not going to go well for Levan. So Levan, good decision there. Because Levan needs to keep calm, keep it simple, just do what he does in the physical realm. Devin's mental game is on another level. And guys, I anticipate about 5 days until I drop this video. Okay, I'm working on it. I'm going to make sure it's presented the way it deserves to be presented. But the 32 of you guys, you've seen the thumbnail and the
best YouTube thumbnail ever.
Anyway, guys, get excited about that one. So thank you for that comment, Nehemiah. That one's not far away. It's only 2 months or what? Not that far for sure. Okay,
Devin's a 10 out of 10 for trash talk and mental warfare. I mean, you saw it at the backstage stuff, like Dave Chaffee didn't even want to shake his hand at all. Didn't get away from me, don't get near me, because it was like he knew that Devin was going to be doing some little thing, or even if he'd put that thought in his head, it was like, he's a master. Absolutely great decision by Levan not to go and get absolutely destroyed in trash talking.
Absolutely, I agree. Hey, back to the Monster Michael Todd Rivas match. We'll give our predictions in a moment. Tim Graham says, I can't pick this one, but Rivas is the gatekeeper to the best. He's always right there. It ruins people's days. Could go either way. Thank you, Tim. I agree there. This is a tough match. This will be extremely tough, says Brandon Natale for Monster Michael Todd. I think he can win, but only because of how strong he looked against Derek Smith recently. Interesting. Although that was just practice. Because, yes, Derek, of course, 6'8". And a predominantly outside puller. And Michael looked good, but it is practice. It is Michael's hometown. He knows Derek very well. I don't know. Do you think that matters in your head?
The practice pulling, it never really. It could be anything, or it's like what do we want you to say?
I beat Todd Hutchins in practice pulls. That gives you some perspective.
There you go. This is do or die for Michael Todd, I think.
Yep. The Drew 24 says, I've heard from a couple of bigger YouTubers that you didn't want to mix the live streams with the regular content at the same channel. That it messes algorithms. Maybe it affects the 1 million sub. Yeah, you're onto it, Drew. We're expanding. Good on you, brother. Thank you for the support. All right. So the event starts in 4 days, 16 hours, and 48 minutes, as the Drew 24. Thank you for that. So, Michael Todd Rivas, who's your prediction, man?
Yeah, the problem for me is that I wasn't aware of who Rivas was, but I mean, you're so confident with the 3-0 against Michael. I'm going to go with your pick. I'm going to jump on your bandwagon. I'm going to pick against Michael. I hope he wins. I love the guy. I think he's fantastic, and I can see the passion that he's got for the sport. And each loss, you can see how hard he took each loss to the point where it was like, oh man, I hope he doesn't retire because he's still got so much more in arm wrestling that he can do.
Okay, so 3-0. So the sweep's off. The USA sweep that John Brzezinski declared, it's off.
Thanks, Michael.
Sorry. Hey, let's continue with some of the USA's monsters. Derek Smith, we just talked about him. He's taking on Adam Morozov of Kazakhstan. Morozov, context of this one, as we know, ladies and gentlemen, Derek Smith coming off a very dominant win over Tim Bresnan, which propelled him into the conversation of being relevant in the top 15, at least in the world. I think people ranked him collectively as high as 12. Adam Morozov, people put in a very similar number. He's in that 10 through 15 zone of the overall world ranks. This is a big pressure match for Derek. Being the American in the mix, he's a bit of a fish out of water under these conditions. Derek has pulled WAF before, but this is the first time he's pulled under the spotlight whilst in rigid rules. He's traveling for it a lot further. Morozov in the region. I think Morozov will be the favorite, and I think it's a tough match for Derek. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think this is one of those matches. It's sort of, as you said, it's just outside that top 10 realm, and the winner is going to starting moving up to challenge the top level guys. And yeah, it's sort of like who's creating a career here, like whoever breaks through this match and how they do it. It's like, if you do a fantastic performance at this moment, we're going to look at you for the next elite matches. So both guys have a lot on the line, a lot to lose. I like Derek Smith in this match. I think even with all the travel and everything else, I think he's actually really starting to move forwards with his progress. I think he's on a real upswing at the moment, and I think he's going to continue that trend.
Because of course Morozov did lose to Prudnik. He had a crack against Prudnik, and it was one-way traffic. Prudnik was in control, so that's a good sign for Derek that he wasn't at the Prudnik level, which probably makes Derek feel a little bit confident. But Derek has the high ground. Morozov, someone who typically will top roll, but obviously he's incredibly powerful inside as well. He's built very well through the bicep, but Derek Smith will be able to technically deny, you would think, the high ground, given the 6'8" status and the size of the man. It is there for the win if he can just execute. But the pressure is going to be really on. Tim Graham reckons he can see Derek winning a match.
I think that if he's going to be taking seriously as a top level, absolute best of the best arm wrestler, this is the match he needs to win.
Yeah. It's a big step forward. Win or lose, though, Derek's on the rise. I'm sure of it. So it's going to be a good match. All right, let's move on. We got still we're what 5-6 matches in, and we're still got four matches to talk about. We'll keep it in the USA still. A man that I'm very interested in watching, Paul Lynn, is taking on David Samashuya of Georgia once again. The USA v Georgia match battle lines continue. Paul Lynn, a lot of people have a lot of faith in Paul Lynn. We saw him pull John Brzezinski. He did make John sweat, which was always a good sign. Paul Lynn is seen as kind of the number 2 guy in the USA behind that of RVJ historically, but that could have changed. Paul Lynn might be the guy now at 210 pounds. David Samashuya had won the Zloty in 2018 at 85 kilos, and then went incredibly deep in the overalls, getting on the podium in the overalls at the Zloty. He's an explosive hook puller, and Paul Lynn, great in the hook, but he's not explosive. We saw him beat Ron Barth 3-1 recently in his most recent outing. David Samashuya has gotten heavier as well. I think both these guys are going to be around 94, 95 kilos. It's a big match. It's one of those same things like the Derek Smith Adam Morozov match. It's do well here, you're propelled into the big matches. What do you reckon? Explosive hook versus Paul Lynn.
Yeah, I am picking against Paul Lynn in this one. I think the guy's phenomenal and he's been around forever and been an absolute top contender, but I don't think he's ever really risen to that elite status. He's sort of sitting just outside of it. And I even with a win here, I think he would still need a couple to be able to really start to be banging on the door of the top, 5 guys in the world in that area. Yeah, the difference with the style, it being over there with that set of rule sets and with the explosiveness, I think he's just going to lose the first round quite quickly, and then it's just going to sort of fall apart from there.
Yeah. Well, that again, one of the biggest factors is the familiarity of the rule sets and the referees and the location. That's heavily in the favor of Samashia. Paul Lynn, the one thing he has is he's surrounded by American legends. So he's not alone. He's got everyone. He's the cream of the crop of USA arm wrestling in his corner. So he should feel confident in that respect that he's there representing. And the Drew 24 makes a great comment. He says Paul Lynn is the weakest of the West team. Shows you just how strong this West team really is, because Paul Lynn is phenomenal. And yeah, he is the weakest link of this team, but it's amazing. The USA team here, this is their A team, as John Brzezinski put it. I think that Paul Lynn has fantastic back pressure in the setup. If he can somehow get some load into the match before the go, he can get a stop and then slow hook. He's probably stronger. His pronation off the go is really high, really solid. If he can get it to strap and he can get some load in the strap, I see him getting a stop on the defense and then being able to win the grind. Samashuya, though, depending if he wins the center and gets superior position, there may just not be enough opportunity to rotate back through. And in that case, it will be Samashuya's. But good match, great opportunity. Can't wait to see it. Obviously cheering for Paul Lynn, but I think David is the favorite, and given all those reasons we just mentioned.
Do you think being surrounded by legends, and when you're in a position where you may be seen as the weakest link on the team, even though he's absolutely phenomenal, but it's like would that help him, or could that hinder him if you go out and get flash pin first round, and it's sort of like, I don't want to let everybody down. Like, there is a very easy way of putting too much pressure on yourself, especially if you're surrounded by the people that you look up to, that are your heroes, or that that are the elite of the elite, but you're at the bottom level, and it's like, oh, I don't want to be the reason that we lose.
Well, hopefully the pressure's off. No, I don't want to say this. This isn't mean. Maybe the pressure. I won't say hopefully. Maybe the pressure will be off Paul because Michael's already lost.
Could be. I don't think it's bad to say.
But yeah, I agree. Being the junior member, let's call him the junior member of the USA team here. Yeah, there is a pressure to perform as well as the other guys. You don't want to let them down. You're there representing your country, and you're on the world stage. Everyone's watching. It's a big moment for Paul. This is his arrival moment in respect to the European region. He can either walk away with a lot of respect, or he can walk away with fans saying, "Yeah, told you Europeans are better." Like, that's what he's up against. There is a lot of mental pressure on Paul in this one. But I think Paul's such a grounded and nice guy that I think it's almost his superpower that he doesn't fear losing, because he's so humble and nice, that he'll perform well. He'll perform well, and even if he loses, I think he will perform well.
When you pulled in the WAL and you had John Brezine in your corner, did that add any extra pressure to you, or did that spur you on, or did you feel like, I don't want to let John down, or I don't want to let the audience down?
It definitely was a positive. There was no, I didn't feel any, I don't want to let John down. John has a presence about him that is very calming. I was down 1-0 my first round, and John in the corner, John didn't say much, but John said exactly what needed to be said. I discussed what I felt with him from round one, and I said to him, I feel like there's a gap if I pronate hard and top roll, and he said, look, I can see it. You've got it. You know exactly where to go. And he gave me more just belief rather than tactics. He said, he just nodded in agreement. I'm like, yep, you're on the right track. Just hit it. He took over my hand in terms of how to get the blood out of it. He started doing this, and he put ice in my hand. And I'd never put ice in my hand before. I only ever had it on my forearm. He's like, no, in your hand. Yeah, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to trust John here. Just do what John says. So he actually just calmed me. He actually put me into a mind space where I thought I was then confident that what my decision was going to be for round two was the right one. And what made me really confident was John from across the room bet with who was it? Who did he bet? Wasn't Bob Brown? No, it was Eric Wolf. He bet whilst I'm there in the corner with John. He bet with Eric Wolf $50 that I was going to win the match from here.
Wow! Yeah. And what was it like winning that second round and coming back to John, and it had worked, and it was like,
yeah. John's pointing at Eric Wolf like, yeah, I told you.
Oh man, that would have been one of the best.
Anyway, but John's effect for Paul will hopefully be similar. All right, so there's one more match on the right hand that we will. Sorry, there's two more matches on the right hand, but one more on the East versus West true theme. Sorry, there's three more. My goodness. But the one I was thinking of, big match, Matt Musk, Evgeny Prudnik. I'm worried for Matt Musk. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to end well for Matt Musk. He's awesome at what he does. I don't think he's at the level that he needs to be to beat Prudnik. He's right on that. He's probably in that 10 position. Like he's just he's fantastic when he gets what he needs to get, and once he's in that top role position, good luck trying to stop him. But the people that prevent him from getting there, they win. And it seems to be that he's had these opportunities to, if you win this match, you're right at the elite level. and that's the one that he loses. And then it's like, and he would win a couple, and then it's like, if you win this one, then you're in the mix, and it's like, and that's the one he loses, and it's like, damn it, Matt, just win that one.
He's always been so close. He's the bridesmaid every time. I don't think he's ever beaten Devin Larratt on right. I don't think he's ever beaten him. It's like 21-0 or something. He's taken rounds off him, but he's never won the match. Devin reminds me, and like that's so typical of Matt, as it's like so freaking close. He beat Hermes in WAL. He then lost to Hermes in Turkey. Was that the first East, first West? I think it was something like that. Or it was a standalone, whatever it was. Matt is there and dangerous, but I think Prudnik is way too high a table IQ to fall for the trap. I think there's a certain lane that if Prudnik went to, Matt Mouse could get the win. But I think Prudnik is incredibly intuitive, incredibly calculated, very well rounded in his strength. I think even if he does lose the first round, he'll know exactly where to put his pressures, and I think he'll take it. Prudnik has declared, he said, I will top roll Matt, I will hook Matt, I will press Matt.
Who's with all the Europeans making all these trash talk like elite? I need to crush my opponent.
I think they're learning slowly how to do what the Americans do well, which is whip up a frenzy of entertainment and fans, and all starting to get on board, which is good to see. But yeah, they're coming out with the very clunky versions of trash talk.
They're all saying, "I will absolutely destroy my opponent no matter what."
I will crush you. Good stuff.
I think Matt's got one way to win, which is the top roll, and Prudnik's just got every which way he can win.
Yeah, Aaron Castillo says if Matt hasn't really pushed in recent months, I tend to think Prudnik will be too strong in the same way Hermes was. I do think Matt could surprise us though. Yeah, there is that surprise factor because Matt is so volatile and just crazy, the wild horse. He has big weapons. If he can make them hit, they're brutal, and they are good enough to be very high. But they're so loose, these cannons, that someone like Prudnik, who's calculated and controlled and just strong everywhere, he'll be too much for Matt.
Matt's somebody you want on the card no matter what, because you're gonna watch that dude. I would watch that guy arm wrestle every single day. He's that exciting, and it's like, it doesn't matter whether he wins or loses. It's like, put Matt Mask on the card.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, the Drew 24 says, is Matt Mask to Devin like Jordan Davis is to Ryan Bowen? He knows him too much and has his number. Jordan has beaten me in the past, so there's no 21-0 record, but yeah, it's similar. It is similar. Big low hand top roll, just not enough power. Just not enough, Jordan. Sorry, Jordan. Sergio Romero says Matt needs to stay away from the straps. Matt can't win without the straps.
Matt wants the strap.
Matt is a strap puller. He is a strap puller. He has a great hand, but he doesn't hold on to people. He's a pronated back pressure hitter with B. When I say B, I'm not saying strength is only B grade. I'm saying he doesn't actively contain. He only partially contains. So he's a strap puller. Prudnik is too strong, says Brandon. I agree. The Drew 24 says Prudnik might not be 100%. Didn't he stop training for a while? Is this the chance for Matt too? I'm not sure about that, Drew. Prudnik's been looking pretty active. He crushed Morozov like a child. And I don't know. He doesn't upload his training, so I'm not sure. I haven't followed Prudnik closely. But anyway, I got Prudnik for the win. You got Prudnik for the win. I think everyone has Prudnik for the win. Matt Master.
The lock of the tournament right here.
Yeah, that's it. That's where it starts to get interesting in a few matches with that one. Yeah. All right, Marcio Barboza versus Tobias Sparong. Another one of the true East vs West battles here. Marcio, a legend of the sport, has multiple world titles, has beaten Brzenk at Brzenk's younger years during his peaks. Marcio Barboza, incredibly consistent, has always been a gatekeeper to the elite level. He's been used that way. many times in North America. Everyone who thinks that they can make it elite pulls Marcio, and then they go back to the drawing board and go, shit, okay, because they know that Marcio is not the top of elite, but he's certainly elite. And Marcio Barboza, good to see him back in the international arena. It's been some time. He has still been active training. He's still pulled the odd matches. I think he pulled at the Olympia recently. He won the Olympia, beating people like Wayne Withers and that sort of level comfortably. Marcio is a beast. Tobias Sparong, one of the young guys, I know he's only 24, 25, something crazy. But he's a giant, man. He's one of those guys with grip strength that is right there at the world record level of grip strength. Huge, huge guy. Big genetic potential to become a Levan-style puller someday. He's a monster. He will be far bigger than Marcio Barboza. Tobias Sparong has an amazing back pressure pronation game. If he gets put into a hook, it looks like it is lacking relative to his top roll. But Marcio, also predominantly an outside puller who can hook. Stylistically, this suits Tobias, but I think experience and conditioning and long-term endurance in the hand and wrist will go the way of Marcio Barboza. And I see Marcio Barboza putting on a very nice technical display of how to beat a giant.
I think this is Tobias's rise. This is his first step on his way to the top. I know
we did say Marcio's the gatekeeper.
Yeah, exactly. And it's sort of it feels like he's being used that way again here. With the win, he would really be like, okay, well, now we'll give you somebody that's, in the elite and see if you can actually sort of hang with those top four or five guys. If you could get a win in that conversation, then it's like, okay, now you've really arrived. But I think he just sort of sits outside of that at all times. He's right next to it, but he's not quite there. And as you said, it's sort of like, well, if you beat Marcio, you're on your way to the absolute elite. But I don't see him winning this one. I think that, Tobias has got too much. I think he's on the upward trajectory. And I think that Marcio is staying sort of flatlining where he is.
And we got a correct pronunciation here. Update according to Drew24. It's Tobias. According to Pradeep, who did a pronunciation episode. Thank you, Pradeep, and thank you, Drew24. Tobias is, I agree with you, man. He is an up-and-comer. I remember seeing him in 2019 at the Zloty Tour, and he looked phenomenal. Everyone was like, whoa, who's this dude? We knew of him, but he was right there in the overall division at the pointy end. So, I think it could be he's coming up party too, but I'm backing ultimately the hand and wrist. The wrist rise of Marcio not to fail. I feel like the wrist of Tobias will fail before Marcio. Tobias may get a few rounds. This could be a down to the wire. I could see this being a 3-2 Marcio with Tobias taking the first round at least.
Has Marcio pulled under those sort of rules very often? I think most of the ones I've seen him in North America.
He's an OG of the sport. He's probably pulled more this way than he has in the loose Wild West style. He's a WAF world champ, multiple WAF world champion. He's pulled, he's done Zloty Tours. I don't think he's won a Zloty Tour, but he's podiumed in the Zloty Tour multiple times. This is familiar territory to him. He's not going to be worried at all by the rules or that unfamiliarity. If anything, Tobias is still probably lacking starts relative to Marcio. Marcio, thousands and thousands of ready goes for sure under these conditions. He'll be fine. I got Marcio 3-2. Who you got?
Tobias. I got Tobias 3-1.
Oh, you're so wrong.
$20.
Let me check. Is that all the right matches? We've done that one. We've done Dave and Gennady. We've done Marcio and Tobias. We've done Brzenk and Zurav. We've done Matt Martin.
Krasimir Kostin.
There it is. Arif Ertem and Krasimir Kostadinov. Krasimir Kostadinov just won the European Championship. Was that 105 kilos? I'm not sure. Arif Ertem, he is what is it? The WAF super heavyweight world champ from last time round, I think. Someone let me know if I'm wrong. But Arif Erdem of Turkey is a monster. Krasimir Kostadinov got belted by Corey West. I think Arif Erdem is going to crush Krasimir because of what I saw with Corey. I think Arif is a bigger guy. Arif is an incredibly powerful hooker, incredibly powerful rotator as well. I think Arif Erdem just, sorry, Krassi, I love you, but I think Arif's going to stomp him.
Yeah. I think that last match with Corey West, it was like you could see that Krasimir. It was almost like he was shocked in a way that
it just wasn't on the same level. There's just nothing you could do when you're that far behind in power and fundamental power. You just, sorry, I can't even get into the match.
Yeah.
Brandon agrees. He says Arif will smash. Lagia says the same. Arif will kill Krassi, I'm afraid. The Drew 24 makes mention of the strap. Krassi does much better with straps after putting Corey West in straps. Yes, that did seem a lot better. So I would anticipate, that Krassi looks for the straps and needs to go to the straps to give himself a chance. But Brandon says, look, this one is the lock. This is the lock. If you're betting somewhere, this is the one that is the safest. And there's probably an open market for it in this one because Krassi's the more well-known of the two. So there might be fans out there betting on Krassi, and you can just clean it all up with the Arif Stomp. The Arif Stomp is on, I think.
StakeKings.com, is it?
What is it? Krassi needs to listen to the godfather of arm wrestling pickup and stay away from the big super heavyweights. Laugh at that, says Drew 24. Yeah, I think this one's a very difficult match for Krassi, and unfortunately, I think it is going to be a stomp. But all good. Hey, that's all the right arm matches done. What a card.
It's massive. We still got left.
Do you care about left? Do we talk about left?
Oh, wow. Wow.
We can talk about it.
Isn't left for opening doors, I've heard?
Exactly. For opening doors, it's for drinking a beer. It's not for arm wrestling.
It's for holding the peg.
I honestly struggle to talk about left matches, not because I don't care about the people, but I don't follow left. I don't know who the hell's who in left. I don't know what shape they use. I just see them and go, I think of their right arm performance, and I'm like, okay, does that mean they do that on their left too? I don't
know. How hard do you train your left?
I don't. I am full giant pumpkin. I am all in on the giant pumpkin theory. But anyway, the left-hand matches, if you're wondering what the left-hand matches are, here they are. There's four of them. Matt Mask, Adam Morozov, F.A. Komek, Zurab Tabaridze, Tobias Sparong, Evgeny Prudnik, and Sahib Kaglar and Marcio Barboza. So let's run through these quickly because I don't know what the hell's going to happen. Matt Mask, Adam Morozov. Matt has historically done reasonably well on left against Devon. I know that. I've seen him pin Devon on left. So yeah, and Morozov being a top roll style, it makes him vulnerable. I wouldn't be surprised if I saw Matt Mask win. Am I missing anything?
No, I think you're right. I think Matt Mask slips the strap and gets a win. He's fantastic against other top rollers.
As long as Matt Mask doesn't move in the ref's grip, he'll be fine because Matt Mask is a wild west, loosey-goosey puller. And he's got to remain disciplined and not move in that ref's grip because you just lose. You just straight up foul. It's instant foul. You move a muscle in a ref's grip, and that's his biggest problem. F.A. Komek, Zurab Tabaridze. Zurab, of course, the man who had the war with Ron Barth. Last time Zurab pulled on the left, it was against Jonathan Breeder of the USA, and he was too much for Jonathan Breeder. Last time I saw F.A. Komek pull, he was it against Chance? No, it was against Herman Stevens, and he was far too much for Herman Stevens. I have no idea how these guys balance up. I think FA is an outside puller, Zurab's an inside puller. I like top rollers more. I'm going for FA.
It sounds good to me. You're wrong. You're completely wrong.
The Drew 24 asked a question about the left. He says, Ryan, how strong could your left hand get if you train it for 90 days? 90 days. Well, it's coincidentally, Drew 24. It's about 90 days until I'm at Arm Wars, and I've been given a left match against Uncle John, so maybe I will. Maybe I will. I don't know. Is Uncle John worthy? Do I need to train for Uncle John?
Oh,
I need to train for
shots fired.
Certainly not. I can roll out of bed on right with Uncle John, but I'm not sure about left. I think he's pretty badass left. So I'll see. We'll see. Then we got Tobias and Prudnik. I think Tobias may be reaching a little too high on that one.
Yes.
Maybe
too good everywhere.
Yeah, too good everywhere. Maybe first round, Tobias gets close, but I don't think so. And then the last one, the hardest one, because Sahib Kagla and Marcio Barboza. I don't know Sahib. Do you know Sahib?
No, I didn't even know how to say that name.
But
I was glad that you read it out so that I knew how to sound.
The fact that he's from Turkey and it's Engin's event, Engin will know the level of Sahib. I believe Sahib has been pulling for like 20 years. So he's one of the OGs of Turkish arm wrestling. He's not an up-and-comer. He's one of those guys that just probably fringe-dwelling elite, I think. One of those guys that is using Marcio Barboza, who's the gatekeeper of elite, to have a crack at that. Home ground advantage to Sahib. Not going to be enough. Marcio for the win. And yeah. Call it 3-1. I don't know. I'm clutching straws here, man.
Is that your lock?
I can't lock this one. I don't know. Sahib might be a freaking monster, and I just don't know about it.
When you went to Zloty and you set up, was it very strange the way that they do it? That do the other pullers or the European pullers have a very light sort of touch. They're not loading it.
They have the European pullers. They just know what to expect from the referees, and that's natural. They know what to expect, and therefore they don't miss a beat. They have great static strength in their hand, but they're not actively using it. They're not transferring the load into your opponent. So yeah, but they're not soft. They're hard in their hand, but they're rigid and they're locked. And it's knowing the timings and knowing the flow of the referee was the thing that I struggled most with. I was like, oh, kidding me? What? Like, really? You just feel disjointed from the start, which is a terrible thing. To lose your timing is a terrible thing. And that's the biggest challenge I found was understanding and establishing the timing. So there is that factor for everyone that's over there, like the Derek Smiths, the Paul Lynn's. They're new to that. The John Brzenks, the Marcio Barbozas of the world, the Dave Chafees of the world, they're used to it. They're fine. They'll be right. But yeah, it is a factor for sure.
When you could see your improvement over the matches that you had, it was like the first one, it was like, oh, okay, yeah, that was different to what I was expecting, or that was you got to get used to this. But probably 3 matches in, I think I've got it now. I think I've got the timing, and that's where you started to find some success.
Yeah, there's a lot less feel and a lot more you have to pre-decide just what you're going to do. You have to trust your ace and just set up for your ace, hit it, bang. Don't feel. Well, I'm someone who always typically I like to feel what my opponent's doing and go searching. You don't get the opportunity to search in the group over there, so you just got to play your ace, and that's why it's so snappy over there. They just play their ace and bang. The rule sets is conducive to that. But
did you feel the same way in the over the top tournament with the Uzbekistan guy, the one who ended up coming third?
Yeah,
with his setup, did he feel the same way?
Yeah, he did. He felt European.
Yeah,
he felt European. He didn't load the threat. Didn't really show me. He just had a rigid hand, but he clearly made his decision where he was going. And in the game of scissor paper rock, he won. The choice that I'd made was the wrong choice for what he did. Had I have chosen just wrist up and hook from there, it would have been me making the right decision, because he was going really low on me. And had I have just stayed high and hooked, I would have had the rotation advantage on a leverage sense. But because I went high and tried to roll, he turned my promotion down. I was instantly arm wrestling with no rotation versus him in this beautiful tight position. So it's like, oh man. But yeah,
if you'd won that match, who would you have pulled? Because he ended up coming third.
I would have pulled Matteo Rangi next.
How do you think that would have gone?
Matteo Rangi, yeah. I had a plan for Matteo Rangi. I think Matteo Rangi, if I had, if I went 3-3 with Matsurangi in a super match, and I still feel it's that way. I feel it's a 50-50 match with me and Matsurangi. He's stronger than me in fundamental senses in the bicep, but there's just a few little positions that I have it over him. My pronation, if my pronation survives off the go against Matsurangi, I've got something to work with, and then we're good. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen it.
It'll come. I hope Matsurangi gets himself in some international opponents too. I'd love to see him in an East vs West match against any of these kind of fringe dwelling top guys. Someone maybe like Sahip or something like that. Whatever. Matsurangi's ready for sure. Lachlan Adair will be, of course, on East vs West 4 up against Sandra Sadis, who is the current European 105 kilo champion. Or was it super heavyweight champion? Oh no, he won something. I think it was might have been the supers. But yeah, lots to come. Guys, East vs West is happening literally as the Drew 24 said in 4 days, 6 hours and 18 seconds and something like that. It's going to be on. I apologize for not having a link to it, but it is going to be a pay-per-view via Core Sports. So make sure you head to coresports.com. I'm sure that will direct you to the right place. I'm gonna do a commentary for it as well. So if you want, you can come hang out. Matt Connolly might even be here with me. I don't know if he's up for it. You up for a commentary?
I'd absolutely love to do that. Would be amazing.
All right. So if you want to hear Matt Connolly and myself
The
going
same voice and not being able to tell who's talking.
Just close your eyes. You don't know who's talking. It's a great situation. But we're going to commentate the East vs West card. So come and join us live in here. Have the East vs West up on one screen. Have our commentary on another. I don't know who the in-house commentary is going to be. It might be Coach Ray again. So if you like the Latvian flavor, stick with him. But if you want to hear some in the deep action and the analysis, and who doesn't want to hear? Let's be honest. Who doesn't want to hear voices like this? This is where it's at, isn't it, Matt Connolly?
Absolutely. Yeah, I can feel the octave lowering there. I'm going to try and match it.
We can turn our mics right up. Turn your mic right up for me.
Okay.
And then we'll talk really quietly, and you can hear the rich dulcet tones.
It's the deep mahogany voice of Ryan Blue Bowen and Hollywood Matt Connolly.
You gotta stay quiet, Matt. You can't talk too loud. Ladies and gentlemen, let us know in the comments section if you'd like us to commentate the event like this. Hang on, there we go. Mike's
whispering event.
That's crazy. Anyway.
Oh, can I just say one quick thing? My favorite moment because we haven't talked about over the top because I got sick, I got COVID, and we haven't been able to do anything for 2 weeks. But my favorite moment of that tournament, would you like to guess what it would have been?
Oh, hang on. No, I don't know. What is it?
Hey, you wouldn't have probably guessed that anyway. We were sitting next to the main stage. We had a New Zealand guy come up who had performed quite well in the tournament. And he said, "Are you Ryan Bard?" He knew you were Ryan Bard. And he said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Oh, man." He goes, "I got into arm wrestling from watching your videos. I really appreciate all the content that you do. And I wouldn't be here without you doing what you do." And I was like, "Oh," and you said, "Oh, thanks, man. I really appreciate it." That to me was just like, wow, that's what it's all about, man. That was amazing. It was like, yes, perfect. Because of what you do, you got somebody into the sport who actually did really well in the tournament. So well done.
Good stuff. And those sorts of moments are awesome. My favorite moment was actually same sort of moment, but from a 6-year-old girl. A 6-year-old girl came up with her sister and her dad, and the dad came along to this event. He wasn't an arm wrestler. He brought his daughter along just because she was an arm wrestling fan. She was 6 years old, and she's an arm wrestling fan. And she drew a picture of me and wanted me to sign next to the picture. And I was like, "Oh, this is unreal." I gripped up with her, and she knew how to arm wrestle. She had great hand control, good pronation. I said, "Do you beat the boys at school?" And she said, They don't even know how to arm wrestle.
That's fantastic. That's amazing. Oh man, no, you're doing good stuff.
Those moments are awesome. But anyway, ladies and gents, thank you so much for joining us here on this East vs West discussion. It's a new channel here. I know we didn't get as many as we'd normally be in here. We'll slowly find out. So please make sure you share this channel with everyone. Also, whether you're watching us here on the Matt Connolly YouTube channel as well, please give us both a subscribe. If you're here, if you're on Facebook, thank you for joining us as well. We've got a few people that were on Facebook. I can see from the comment section. Wesley Barfield's one of them. F. Bowen says works for me. That it was referencing the low deep voices when the mic's turned right up. Good stuff there. Thank you very much. But ladies and gentlemen, make sure you do tune in for the East vs West. We will do a live coverage once again via all these same platforms. So come and join us for that. Say good day. It will be a lot of fun. Big weekend coming up, Matt. Hope you get some sleep and some rest because this one will probably be in the middle of the night.
Yeah, man, I'm still awake from 2 days ago, like literally.
You're a machine. I don't know how you do it. I honestly don't know how you do it. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen. Sponsorship by Monster. Good stuff. All right, guys, we're going to head off. Thank you so much for joining us here, and we'll see you at East vs West this weekend.